Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. And this may be my favorite show of all time because I love airplanes. I build airplanes. I built one of Randy's airplanes,
Yep.
but Randy Schlitter is our guest on today's show. Now, we talk about challenging times, and Randy, I want to talk about business overall first, and then we'll talk about an airplane that you have, and I don't know if it's your favorite airplane, but it was featured on the front cover of the world-renowned AOPA magazine. Pretty cool place to have your airplane. I think that's the second time that has happened. So, Randy, welcome to our show. Thanks for taking time out for us today.
Yeah, with pleasure, Gary. It's always fun to kind of enlighten people what we actually do.
Well, I want to talk about the overall industry that you're in. There's been a couple of builder type, sport plane type builders, I guess a better way to say it, that have had challenges financially, challenges with actually just shutting their doors, reopening them, some shut for good. It's a challenging world out there. And then I see your plane featured on the front of AOPA. What have you guys done to kind of survive the challenge?
Yeah, that's a multi-level kind of a strategy, The thing that I've told people before, the hardest thing as a young man starting out in the business is determining your size. When you're younger, you want to kind of like, overtake and rule the world, right? And then you get
Yeah.
practical. It's the same thing that happens starting out as everybody starts out with some big dreams. And then you just have to do the size the dream to your budget kind of thing and keep it in that bracket. If you can do that and within the technological and resource capabilities of both your community and yourself, then you get comfortable and you get strong at the same time.
Well, I know you have a big team, but people are saying, somebody in Hayes builds hundreds of aircraft, if not thousands, and sends out kits around the world. What the heck's going on here? And I'm going to pull up a picture for everybody. And when you see this, you'll see that, you guys have a beautiful facility out there. And when you take a look at that, you see that you guys have a great facility. How many people work? Tell us a little bit about how many people work at your facility
It,
and what they do.
yeah, it's really all about the people in the end because I can't do it by myself, never intended to. And we're strong because of those people. They're multi-talented. We have currently on our staff, I think a little bit over 20. We've had as many as 80 plus. And what over the years we've done is we've gotten real smart with technology, and the productivity level's gone up with using machines and higher skill base and whatnot. So we've really got a great hybrid situation where we can multiply the impact of one person by having them trained up in sophisticated machinery and process like that. So that's worked out great for us.
Well, when you talk about doing those sort of things, that means you also have to have people that are trained up. Where do you get your staff for being able to do that?
Well, we would like to think that they could just walk through the door and be ready to go, but we have to typically train and build people, and that's the beautiful thing about in this location. We've got a lot of people with practical knowledge and skills because the kids around here grow up doing stuff besides just playing video games. And nothing wrong with video games, but the fact is that those type of skill sets are common in this area, probably due to things like the ruralness. The farmer has to learn a lot of skills. You know that very well.
Hmm.
How you grow up on a farm and you improvise, you learn how to use your hands and your mind to get things done. Sometimes not with the most ideal materials or tools.
And so your employees, how many number, what do you have out there for the number of employees
We're
you have?
I think about 21 right now.
And so they go about all different types of building. And when you talk about building an airplane, what does that take? You have different versions. The S-21 is the one that's featured in ALPA magazine. I'm going to pull up a picture of that in just a second and go do that. And when you pull up a picture, you see this S-21, and it's really Just a beautiful airplane that is there. And I got to get the right picture up and make sure that that's the right one here. Hold on, let me do that. There we go. And so when you get a beautiful airplane like you have, um, how what goes on next? Because how do you go any better than this one?
You tweak things. Once you got a classic design, you got to keep the essence of the design alive. And you can do things like different power plants, different interiors, different paint jobs. Aerodynamic improvements are always possible with additional technology and process. You know, as far as making outstanding improvements, that of course, in the relationship to maybe cruise speed and things like that, that's a lot harder because once you get, you know, a fairly clean airplane to start with, it's hard to make it significantly faster. So,
Well,
but there's an
th-
ongoing process that's unique to our situation because, like, say, Cessna assembles aircraft ready to fly. Well, we have the motivation to keep improving that assembly process because our customers assemble the aircraft, and we want that process to be more enjoyable, more successful, and more consistent. So we're always striving toward little improvements, not ground shaking, but things that just small things actually add up over time to make the kit more palatable for the average person to assemble.
so I maybe fall into that average person category. I'd say
I was
you
going to
want to
point
build.
that out. I mean, between between you and your partner on it, you guys did a fine job, and
Yeah, we had some help along the way, but
you had
it's a
some
neat
help.
airplane. So, but
And that's
here's the
not bad
cover. The
because everybody does. I mean, the EAA is a great organization, Experimental Aircraft Association, in helping people grow the skill base and have that widely distributed throughout the country and the world, in fact, to help people. And I think it's a mindset, so many people, oh, wow, I don't think I could ever build a plane. And that doubt can be dissolved with looking at what's out there with the significant ability of the masses to actually do this type of thing.
well, I'm showing a couple pictures here of
Oh, that's a real distorted view.
yeah, the front got a little distorted because of the cover. It was a fold out version of this. It's a
Oh
little
my
distorted.
gosh,
We'll clean that up on this one right
that's
here.
better. Yeah, that's
And that is a beautiful airplane. This is one of your more recent ones. Tell me
yeah,
about the statistics on this airplane. It's two-seater, but
yeah.
tell me about the statistics on it.
Yeah, what we're looking at is the Rand's S-21 Outbound. It's all metal with a chromoly steel cage around the pilots, and it's a high wing and could be a tail dragger, high wing tractor. That means the engine's in the front, and it could be a trike or tail dragger. You can swap the gear. It fits in a nice niche where you have speed and short field capabilities in a nice, comfortable package. It's also well known for the comfort of the interior, the size of the cabin, the ergonomics of the cabin. All those combine into making it a real pleasurable aircraft to use continuously, and to the point that you fly it and you're always looking forward to the next flight because it was a joyful flight.
I'd say that's true. We flew ours up to Oshkosh. You had several of them up at Oshkosh, which is a national show. And you see all the planes that are up there. This plane kind of fits the mold better than any else. And so the fact that your design is really not well, it's superior to so many of the other aircrafts that are small and hard to get into, and we're able to put the nice technology in there to be able to do those things. You see that, and the aircraft and pilots all fit together to make something fun to fly, and that's what
Yeah,
you've done.
yeah, the ergonomics are really important. We've had uh, it's not unusual for somebody to come up to our booth at an air show and go like, "Oh, I've tried several aircraft and this is the easiest one to get in and out of." And if that's just your singular criteria to buy the aircraft, I can understand it because we've all been in situations where like, oh, it'd be a fun toy to have, but man, it's a process to get in there and use that device. And so that kind of does tender your decision process. So we get a lot of points for cabin comfort, easy entry, and volume to the cabin.
You've been doing this since 1983,
I know.
and multiple series of aircraft have come out. Is the S-21 your favorite?
Well, it depends on my mood sometimes. I love flying the 21, and every time I fly it, I always have that little voice say, gee, if I had to stop here, would I be happy? And the answer to that's actually yes. From this, and does that mean that this whole experience from 1983 to now has been accumulating to design what I believe to be the perfect aircraft? Sorta, but not 100%, because the perfect aircraft doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Because the performance criteria always determines the shape and particulars about an aircraft.
Well, you're
So,
working on some transitions out there as well,
oh yeah,
and I hate to say this without bringing Tony into the conversation because they show you on the left side of the screen there, and this is the combination. You can take a plane and make it either nose gear
yeah,
type tricycle type plane, or you can do it on a tailwind type, and it shows some of the things that you put into this plane, like being able to put a rod there to be able to easily tow
yeah,
a plane around. But then on the other side of the photo, there's your good friend Tony. And
yeah.
he's also stepped in a role that's taken over kind of the next generation of what's going to happen at Rand.
I'm very proud of Tony and his progress at our company. I mean, he was a young man. I think it was his second or third job he ever had. He's went from sandblasting frames to welding frames, bicycle type frames and airframes, to becoming the company president. And also, he's became a very accomplished pilot. He's been to many air shows. He's very good with the public, very level-headed, hard to get excited and mad, which is good qualities for leaders. You know,
It really is. It
yeah.
really is. And so we've over the process of us building a plane, he was very instrumental in helping us when we
Mhm.
needed help. And there were many times we did, and he jumped in there. So the other question I had, if I go to the next photo, I'm not sure why you didn't include this in the magazine.
The picture of you and me.
Yeah.
Well, we could not. I mean, it was already the phone was already busy with very beautiful women wanting to have our names and addresses. So Gary, I had to cut it back some.
I wish that was the case, but this is up in Oshkosh. And how many planes are up in Oshkosh that are Rand's airplanes? And then, um, do you guys continue to go every year? Is that a show and tell of the best manufacturers? Or is it everybody up at Oshkosh?
It is the granddaddy of the air shows, and it's a primary air show for us. We do one other very small venue in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and we are always successful at both shows. The main ingredient at Oshkosh is we get to be in the company of traditional and as well as new innovative aviation. And it's good for the customer to see how we stack up against the competition. And they can just walk across the street to another booth and look at another vendor's aircraft that may or may not be a competitor. And it puts us in a very good spotlight in terms of comparisons that people want to make before they commit to the investment.
Well, when you drive by out on the bypass, you'll see the beautiful building that you have that says Rand's on the side. I want to come back and Randy talk a little bit about the future, what you're looking for, and where that is going, and maybe just the aviation world in general. So we're going to take a break here. Our guest is Randy Schlitter, who is the founder and one of the world famous builders of aircraft and different kinds of aircraft. We'll be back after this on Forward Ever.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, leading in challenging times. Our guest is Randy Schlitter of Rand's Aircraft, and you put it together. That's sort of a scrunching down of your name. Rand as RAN, and then the S for Schlitter, and so you come up with Rand. You are known around the world, and we kind of jokingly talked during the break that you're known around the world maybe better than you're known here. The aircraft plant out there does phenomenal work. There's a little airfield out there. You have a show coming up this fall that is a great time for people to come out and really look and see what's happening. That show is in, I believe, October.
That's correct. Yep.
And so you can be looking for notes on when that is. But if you see RANs in an aircraft show, what a great time to come out and see the number of aircraft. What happens in that event?
It's mainly focused on a thank you to our customers, and we hold an event to bring them up to date on what's the latest and greatest. We have a nice a dinner with them and camaraderie between the people who show up in their aircraft. It's a chance for them to have built the plane and bring it back home, so to speak. And it's open to the public to some degree. We like to limit the dinner and whatnot to the people who have been our patrons because it could, get a little crazy. We've been very locally promoted several years. We would do flights at the airport where we'd sell for the March of Dimes or some benefit rides in our aircraft to create awareness. So we point out that, yeah, we are here, but we don't toot our horn that loudly, and it's largely because we have a product that is not commonly purchased on an everyday basis. The aircraft is kind of a sport that's well, look at the population of pilots. What do we got? 300,000 in the United States. So compared to people who do fishing sports or water sports, that's a drop in the bucket. So we appeal to a very elite bunch of enthusiasts who are very typically fanatical and well invested into the products as well as the process of being a pilot and maintaining the what we call proficiency. It's a serious business to be a pilot, although it's crazy fun. Like they say, one drop will kill you.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy fun to be able to fly. Both you and I have been doing it for years. You've been doing the building and design work. People hear about AOBA. That's the big national aviation magazine.
Mhm.
You're right on the front of it. Second time you're there. What kind of honor is that for a company in Hayes, Kansas, to be honored in that way?
Well, we think it's a big deal. Uh, Whether the local community responds well to it, that always remains to be seen. Obviously, because I just kind of expounded upon how narrow of a hobby stream this product is, we in our community, what do you estimate are active pilots? We have a small number of active pilots. So they're going to be aware of it. The average person, when you talk about an airplane, they think of an airline, and we get a lot of responses like, "Oh my gosh, that's a tiny little airplane. I'd be afraid to go fly in that." And I counter that with like, "Well, it's something more like you wear it and you really feel one with the machine. So it's a better experience than riding around in a big tube, with 300 other people." So.
There's something about flying an airplane when you get in control of your airplane. You know that,
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's a
it's
total
amazing.
three-dimensional freedom that people dream about, and mankind, of course, has dreamed about it for centuries. It's available to the individual now, and it's been exploited and developed into advanced forms and safe forms, and it's not going to go away. Private aviation has a great potential to become even bigger over the next few decades because of technology that's advancing.
You made a comment in the magazine when I was reading the article, and it had to do like you may have one more design in you. Now you're prolific creator. I don't know if that's if there's a better way to say that, but you create things and you create some beautiful artwork. You created a whole line of bicycles and you know the things that you just create and build things and you have a dream and next thing you know you're building something like that. So is there a
Wow.
next generation airplane or is it an upgrade on one that's already there? What's the
Well,
secret here?
when you get down to the reality of it is that if you don't keep dreaming, you die.
Yeah,
You want to keep your mind alive. You want to keep the challenges there. And whether we actually build something better or next is almost irrelevant. Um, it becomes a necessary thing if your product is at the end of its life cycle. And that's a real hard thing to predict when that happens. Look at the facts out there like the Cessna Skylane and Skyhawk are still in production. And they've been in production coming up on what, 70 years, I believe. So product life cycle with aircraft is not normal like other product life cycles. So we could have a continuous revenue stream and livelihood with the product we have now with just minor tweaks and improvements. But that's not me. I like to go further when technology and market starts to indicate we need something more than what we have now, then I imagine it'll happen.
I guess you have some things probably on the idea board that you could expound on and make, but it's not easy to bring something to market. It's not easy to have an airplane that's not only safe, it's fun to fly, it fits everybody,
Exactly.
you know, all those sort of things. And you start messing around with a really good formula, and sometimes you go, boy, you know, do we really want to go down that road? And the testing
Right.
of it, safety, all those things make a difference. Somebody's
Well,
out there and go
the
ahead.
thing we have to, Gary, and kind of enlighten you how the process works. The most important aspect of bringing about a new product is the design statement. What is this aircraft going to be? What's its personality? What's its purpose? And it's very dangerous to deviate from that design statement in the process because then you end up with a committee built project. And we all know how well that goes sometimes. I mean, our government's a real good example of how crisp and accurate we do things, right? So,
Yep, yep. Yep. And so somebody's out there and they're going, you know, so many people say, boy, I'd love to go fly. There's some
mhm.
new rules for pilots that make it easier than ever to really
Yep.
at least get your license to get out there. Somebody wants to find out more about RAND. You can go onto ALPA and you can read a lot about your article and some other people that are out there. But having your shop just on the west side of Hayes, having an open house coming up in October, uh, you know, part of it, and there's a local chapter of flyers that are out here that get together. If you're interested, that first flight where you go to get a lesson can kind of be one of those things. Get out and actually, instead of thinking about it and dreaming about it, go do something. And I think that's the encouraging thing I see. The Rands planes, whatever series, and specifically the S-21, are a great airplane for anyone to fly and have fun with. And so that's what I want to encourage. And you have any other comments to add on to that?
Well, you can look at an aircraft as a toy or a hobby, but at the same time, it is a tool. And we are lucky in our community to have a great airport and a good attitude toward private flying in our community and progressive enough that it makes it a lot easier for people to own and operate an aircraft. So it's a hobby that is both a tool and it's accessible and surprisingly, it is affordable. A lot of people believe aircraft are too expensive, but they're the same people who buy motorhomes and bass boats and ATVs and UTVs and spend thousands of dollars pursuing those things. So it is an accessible sport and hobby, and with the rewards that you and I have experienced, and just be prepared to be addicted for a lifetime if you do it.
And that's what happened to me, you too. And so thanks, Randy, for joining us. I know you have a busy day going. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch up a little bit later and maybe get something from Oshkosh. That'd be fun to do a program from up there because everybody shows up. That's anybody that flies an airplane shows up there, and you and your team do a great job. So congratulations for all the work you do. Thanks for what you do in Hayes in our community. And thank you for everybody that's out on your floor that helps build and put together not only the kits, but actually build the airplanes out there. Really
Exactly.
cool work, Randy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Gary, for the chance to talk about it.
Hey, Randy Schlitter's been our guest today on Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. Thanks for listening and watching along. The program brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can enhance lives and strengthen families. I'm Gary Shorman. Thanks again.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.